Hey, I'm Jenna. Ever since I moved abroad for 4 months and experienced solo traveling for the first time, I've been itching to go on my next solo adventure. I hope this video answers some questions and most importantly inspires you to plan your next solo traveling adventure when the world is safe again. A couple years ago, I didn't really know that solo traveling was a thing. I didn't know people just did that for fun, especially women. I didn't think that that was something women did until, I think I started coming across YouTube videos and blog posts about why you should solo travel. And from there, I just went down this deep rabbit hole of all these people that go solo traveling, and I just became kind of obsessed with it. And I was like, this looks like the ideal traveling situation. Okay, so here I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why I think that everyone should try it at least once in their life. The first reason is for your own confidence. When you're traveling by yourself, you can't rely on other people. Whether you think you can do it or not, you have to plan your trains, your buses, your planes, your accommodations, what you want to do there. You have to plan it all, and usually when you're in a foreign country it's a bit intimidating, but you get through it, and whether it works smoothly and everything goes as planned, or you book the wrong ticket or whatever, it's still all up to you. Like, you're not relying on anyone else to do the work for you, and you look back and you're like, wow, I really did that whole trip by myself without anyone else, relied on myself, and I'm capable of doing that. Like, I can go out and go do this trip and I don't need anyone else with me. I'm out of breath. Navigate your way through a foreign city by yourself. It really does make you realize you're able to do anything you put your mind to and that you want to. So the next benefit of solo traveling is meeting new people. And if you've been on a trip with your friends or family member, you don't usually meet new people, even if you stay in hostels. Like, I went to Barcelona with my sister and my friend, and we didn't really meet a lot of new people. We just kind of did our own thing since we already had each other. We didn't feel the need to go out and talk to other people and invite them to come with us. Like, we were kind of doing our own thing, which was totally fine and super fun. Whereas when you're solo traveling, you're just by yourself, so you can go and talk to whoever, eat lunch with whoever, go to breakfast with some new people. For example, that Croatia video I made was fully me meeting new people, and those experiences I had with those girls was the best, and they were all solo traveling as well. So when you're solo traveling, you kind of have to push yourself to be more outgoing in a way, or to make new friends. And normally that's pretty easy for me, but I even felt like I had to try extra hard. For example, I was on a bus from Split, Croatia to Dubrovnik, Croatia, and I get on the bus and I kind of scanned the bus, and I saw this girl that looked my age, and I was like, okay, she's sitting by herself. So I went and I literally sat right in front of her. There was no one on the bus, but I was like, I'm gonna make friends with this girl because we have a 3-hour bus ride ahead of us. So I plopped down right in front of her, I organized my stuff, and then I just turned around and I'm like, oh hey, how are you? And we started talking. We talked the whole bus ride. She was from Boston. We just talked the whole time. We were both going to Dubrovnik, and we weren't staying in the same hostel, but we arranged to meet up for dinner. So we met up and we went to this outside bar that was on the side of this cliff. And then we just wandered around the little city, the old town, and found a restaurant, and we just sat down and we talked for hours. And I honestly felt like I knew her whole life at the end of it. Yeah, it's just cool. I still follow her on Instagram. The next reason, or I guess debunking a theory about solo traveling. A lot of the time when you think of solo traveling, you assume it's going to be lonely and you're just by yourself. But I've found that traveling by yourself is the complete opposite, especially if you stay in hostels. I could see if you stayed in hotels or Airbnbs, it would be quite lonely. But hostels, when there's just so many people around, and the whole point of staying in hostels is to meet people and hang out with people and go do the activities at the hostel. Staying in hostels, you actually get to meet so many more people and you're always around people. The only time I was really like not with someone that I'd met and we were hanging out or whatever was when I was on buses, like traveling between cities, and then by the time I got to the hostel there'd be people there and I'd go talk to them. Yeah, I really don't think loneliness is something to be scared of, especially if you're staying in hostels. Okay, so the main and probably the most appealing thing to solo traveling is you just are essentially treating yourself the whole time you're on your trip. You want to have sushi for dinner, you can go have sushi for dinner. You want Mexican for lunch, you can go have Mexican for lunch. You don't have to compromise for anyone if you don't want to. You just get to do whatever you want all the time. You want to go to the museum? Go to the museum. You don't have to ask someone if they want to go to the museum. Like one day if you just want to lay in bed all day, you can just lay in bed all day. You really can do whatever you want. I love it. I bet we've all known someone in our life who's gone traveling with a friend or a boyfriend, and then soon after they got home or during the trip they broke up. And it's probably because they just were into different things and they wanted to do different things, or they just couldn't travel together. And so when you just go by yourself, you don't have to worry about breaking all your friendships or your relationships. I know Emerson and I are planning on going to South America for a couple months, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit nervous, because I think traveling together is the biggest test of all. Like, you can live together, you can do anything together, but when you're traveling and there's the stress of travel and booking things and compromising, it's a lot. It will be interesting. I think it'll be fun, but I think it's just stupid to be like, we'll be great together, because you never know. You never know. And one thing that I actually love doing, which might be kind of weird, but I loved going to restaurants by myself. I don't know why, because it is kind of weird and it's not like I ever do it at home. I loved going by myself. I would go to this Italian restaurant under my apartment in Germany by myself all the time, and I would sit at the bar and I'd get a bruschetta. They had the best bruschetta there, and I'd get like a cocktail. I just be sitting at the bar and on my phone or talk to the bartender. And a lot of the times I was just by myself and they'd give me a deal or have my drink for free. They're just way nicer to you when you're maybe it's because I'm a girl, I don't know. Then you just kind of sit there and it's some chill time by yourself. You just do whatever you want. You bring your laptop, bring your phone, sit there and read. It's quite peaceful, actually. So my biggest tip is if you want to do solo traveling is to stay in hostels. And I think that age doesn't really matter. I mean, there's private rooms in hostels that if you're older and you don't want to be around the young crowd that's partying or whatever, or if you're worried about that, then there's usually private rooms that are still cheaper than hotels. But then still you get the social aspect of being in a hostel, but without actually having to like worry about sleeping with other people in the same room. So that would be my first recommendation, is to stay in hostels. Now, some tips for safety, because safety when you're solo traveling, especially when you're a female, is very, very important, and you just have to be way more aware of things going on since you don't have someone watching your back with you. The first thing I would do is research the place you're going and make sure that it's safe for solo travelers, or if you're a female, make sure it's safe for females, make sure it's safe for your religion or your ethnicity, because unfortunately some places in the world aren't as accepting as others. And so that's just something to keep in mind, and it's shitty, but I think that that's just a really good thing to look up before you go. Another thing I would look up is like the local laws, rules, any religious things that you have to be aware of. Like if people are dressing conservative in this country, you don't want to be going there not dressing conservative. Look up the customs of the place. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure in Singapore, if you spit your gum out on the road or the sidewalk, you can get arrested. If you wouldn't want to go to Singapore and just like spit your gum out on the sidewalk and then have the police after you and throw you in jail for doing that just because you didn't like look it up. Look up if it's safe for you as a person, look up the rules, laws, look up the culture in the country, not company, country, and those will all help you feel more safe and just blend in, because the key is to blend in. You don't want to be a sore thumb. Stick out like a sore thumb, is that the saying? I don't know. You want to blend in with everyone else. They won't see you as a target and they will just move on with their day. One thing that I did that I wish I didn't do was I had a backpack and I had sewn on a Canada patch. I don't know why I sewed it on. It was kind of a last minute, like the night before I left, I was like, oh, I want this on my backpack. So I just sewed on a Canada patch. I wish that I didn't sew it on because I couldn't just take it off. And when I was walking around cities, it had a freaking Canada flag on my backpack, so everyone knew that I wasn't from the country, or they could easily assume that I wasn't. And I was a tourist, so at times I was like, why am I wearing this freaking backpack with this Canada flag on it? It didn't cause me any issues, but it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I would recommend considering not doing that when you go, or if you go. The next safety tip is to trust your instincts, because there are times when you will have this feeling that you're like, something bad is going on, or like, this is weird, this is making me uncomfortable. For example, when I was in Athens, I was walking down the street and it was just me, and then there was a group of like 5 men there, and I felt like I just got this feeling. I was like, oh my god, because they were kind of like looking at each other and like, I don't know what they were saying, but I was like walking past them on the sidewalk and I just like had this feeling like, oh god, are they gonna fucking try and mug me or something? And I had my camera in my backpack, or in my purse. I was like, fuck, so I just kept I like sped walk out of there. I didn't go on my phone, didn't do anything. I was like looking behind me slightly, like I was really stressed out about it. So in that moment, I don't know if they were actually gonna do something or if it was fine, but I was really stressed out. So I just like kept walking. Another tip is don't use Google Maps on your phone, or don't act lost, because then that's a target ocean where she's going, oh, I'll go and do whatever. So hop into a little coffee shop or somewhere where there's Wi-Fi, and then from there do your Google search, because if you're on the street like, where do I go? Like, suppose I'm going this way. People will be like, oh, she's not from here. Always act confident, even if you don't know where you're going. After I saw those guys in Athens, I didn't go on my phone. I just kept walking until I found a little cafe, walked in there, sat down, got some lunch, figured out where I was going, and then I could have a whole story on Athens because that coffee shop is its own story and it's cute. Next tip, download Google Maps for the city that you're in. So you can actually download on Google Maps, the app, the whole city, and then you can use it when you don't have Wi-Fi or service, and it's just on your phone. That's actually really handy for if you don't have a SIM card for in that country, or your phone doesn't work, or you don't have Wi-Fi. It's easy to then look up where you're going. And my last tip is to try and arrive to the places you're going, whether it's from a plane, bus, train, whatever, during the day, because you really don't want to be like wandering around at night trying to find a hostel to stay in with all your backpack and everything. It's stressful. That happened to me one time and I was like, I'm never doing this again. That's all for my tips, and why do I have such a hard time with words? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't watched my Croatia video where I talk more about my experience solo traveling and staying in hostel in Croatia, you should definitely watch that video. I'll put it right on the end screen and you can watch it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Is my little Mikey plugged in? Are you all good, little buddy? Oh, there's a person! Oh god, they're still there! Like, why are they just stopped there? You know what? I'm gonna be shameless from here on out. I don't give a fuck.